All right, Dan Litchfield with the fine yacht, Hound. Well, I will say, it's actually probably one of the most beautiful out there in that pile of boats.
Yeah, thank you. She's
Just beautiful.
iconic.
It must be beautiful to sail as well.
Oh, yeah. Going upwind is like a dream.
But you went downwind.
We went downwind.
Tell me about your downwind race on the Hound.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at the forecast, licking our chops, 3-4 days out. It was going to be this long upwind off the starting line, and it's going to be wonderful. And then I think we had 20 minutes of the breeze in front of the beam the whole race. It was like just for some sweet starting line photos, and then it just went, and so, I don't know, I'm just super psyched about the boat's performance downwind. The crew came together. Yeah, this is my first first time racing Hound to Bermuda. We'd just done a bunch of work to her, and so like we had to sort of discover how she performs in a lot of different conditions.
Well, first go at it, first win, that's not so shabby.
No, I'm a Cloud 9. We had a really experienced crew. Rich DeMoulin and all the DeMoulin kids were on board. That huge wealth of knowledge. Dave Rossow from Pequot, that's my home club, and a bunch of other really, really talented sailors.
Could you get Dave Perry on board someday?
Yeah, no, I will.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time, yeah.
People are like, Dave, there's no rules here. So don't worry about it. But for you guys, what was it like, though, getting down the course? I mean, how do you sail this boat downwind?
Yeah, it's a good, I mean, our goal going into it was just to keep her moving. She's heavy, but really likes the waves. And so we were really focused on just never letting the speed get too low. We sail a little hotter in the heavy stuff, and it worked out really well. And she likes to surf. That was like, I never knew that about the boat, You don't learn that inshore.
Yeah. And when it's surfing, do you just feel like it just grabs the whole waterline and just kind of goes with it? Or what's it like surfing?
Yeah, it's very gentle. It just kind of goes with it. You have a lot of, very light on the helm, very balanced. There's extremely jumbled seas, and it was, sort of good being in a heavy boat. We didn't get pushed around, I think, as much as other people, but it was still pretty chaotic out there. And we had a couple of major issues that we fought through.
Well, let's go to those. Let's put them on the record. What were the issues? Yeah.
So the first issue, the first major issue. So we had sort of issues each day.
Every day had its
adventure. Saturday, we had a soft shackle holding the spin sheet to the spinnaker, which exploded. And
that's pretty rare.
It's pretty rare. Yeah. And the kite, I'd never seen this happen, but the kite, when it's under a lot of load, it was sort of like super loaded up or just coming up a wave, max load, thing explodes. The chute goes flying forward and goes 4 times around the headstay. Oh.
4 times is hard to get it down.
Yeah, it was hard to get it down. And so we had to, Owen Johnson, he used to be a captain on Hound, and now he's like a pro sailor. He's one of our pro sailors on board. He's just amazing, super cool customer. Went up the rig, took the second main halyard with him. He sort of MacGyvered a situation where he took off enough tension to get the halyard off lock. Team at the bow pulled it down. We collected our thoughts, and the same sail went up on the same halyard. It was like, I didn't think I'd see either the sail or the halyard again. And that was amazing.
How much time did you lose? I mean, did you go kind of bareheaded there? And
I mean, it was like bareheaded. There's like 2 kites. There's the lower kite and the upper kite.
Oh, you have 2 kites.
No, this is like wall was wrapped.
Oh, right. Okay. So that was still pulling for you.
That was still pulling for us. Okay. We couldn't. Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't stop it pulling from us.
It's a reef kite.
Yeah, it's a reef kite. Yeah, so we were in that mode for about 2.5, 3 hours.
Wow, that's a long time.
I mean, it was under a lot of load, and we were just like again, when you're going downwind in the right direction, I was just like, let's take it very slow and get this undone the right way, not break anything, not kill anyone. So I like to, if you're in a situation, but it's like under control, that's actually pretty good. It was daytime. There's like a lot of things working in our favor.
Yeah, imagine if at night.
That would be a whole different story.
But good problem solving there.
Good problem. I mean, the whole team came together and solved that problem.
So check that box.
Check that box.
Save the kite, got back on the track.
Got back on the track.
Then what happened?
So Sunday, we'd done a lot of work on the boat. New rig, new rudder. We had not looked at the steering cable. We looked at the part we could see. But it sort of involved getting at the whole thing. And
getting to the steering cable is not easy on this boat.
Yeah, well, particularly the chain that goes over the binnacle.
Yeah.
The ends of the chain are hard to get to, and we sort of deferred that to this fall. It's like literally on our list, but a link of, exactly. Obviously, you know where this is going. Just before the end of the chain, a link broke. We were surfing downwind, 25 knots, A3 up, and the driver's like, I lost my helm, and they're like, oh, we'll ease a little bit. He's like, no, I lost the helm.
Yeah, there's no rudder stall. I got nothing.
Yeah. It's like he's like, look, I can move the tiller, the rudder wherever, or the wheel. It's like just throwing the wheel around, and so it's like, it's a very quiet boat down below, and it's like very gentle, and so you don't know like the conditions when you're in your bunk. But when it goes over on its ear and just stays there, there's like a problem. And so I woke up, I was plastered to my lee cloth. One of the things that Rich had talked about a lot is like, you don't go on deck without your life jacket and your shoes. So the whole watch down below took their time. We said, look, there's a big problem.
While the boat was on the side.
While the boat's on its side, big problem. But the boat's on its side, not going anywhere. Again, take your time, life jacket, shoes. Everyone got those on before they went on deck. And then we sort of like assess the situation. We're like, okay, we're on our ear, we have a full kite, we have a flogging main, and we have no rudder. Like, what are we going to do in what order, And so one group of people went to set up the emergency tiller, which we'd actually just practiced with in Newport before we left, because you'll never need that.
That's why you do it, right?
And then, we're like, well, if we practice with it, we won't need it.
Right.
But no, it's turned out to be really good that we needed it. We practiced with it because we had issues that we had resolved.
Yeah.
And then the other bunch of people, we had a letterbox line rigged, ready to go. And when you let that tack go, you got a huge kite flogging behind the boat. It's like a flag back there.
Also a boat on its side.
And a boat on its side, right? And so it was sort of like landing a big fish. It took like 6 of us, and like anytime the boat would turn just enough so the main blanketed the kite for a second, and we get like 6 feet, and then it would go back up and you couldn't do anything. The boat would turn down, and you get another 6 feet, and finally we got our hands on the sail and it came right in. As soon as it came down, I went to the back of the boat, and the tiller was there, ready to go, bore off, double reef main number 4. We were doing 10 knots, and they assessed the kite. They assessed we did like a sort of a thorough, quick inspection of the boat. Nothing serious broke. Put the same kite back up, and while we're going downwind, like the crew is this Jason Black, who's been instrumental in like helping us like improve the boat over the last 2 years, is on his back, blind, wrenching together the fixed chain, like someone had taken some Dyneema and spliced over the links.
Yeah.
Put it back together.
Kind of kept the loop going.
Kept the loop going, and so we just have a smaller chain, so you can't go stop to stop. But when you're sailing, you don't really need to go stop to stop on the wheel.
Yeah.
So we saved the whole middle part, put that back in, off we go.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So
that's what this whole thing's about, right? Seamanship, right? Just, like you're saying, just not panicking.
So it's a lot of it was a lot of damn. I mean, but we had talked about this a lot. I mean, that's the thing. Is like with Rich, we talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
As a crew, the safety, the damage control, what tools we need, and so like, sometimes when you're there in February, on your third Zoom with the crew, you think like, oh, this is going overboard a little bit, but then it's like,
why are we talking about this?
Yeah. But then it's like, wow, this was really good. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, having people with that level of experience, that's like, we need to like have a plan for the plan for the plan. It's great. Because when we got out there, no one even thought about saying something negative. There's no negativity. It's just like, oh, we can do this. We talked about this.
Yeah.
Like we have a plan.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that was Sunday.
That was Sunday.
It's like, what could possibly go wrong next?
Monday was pretty. We had just had a loose. One of the battery post connections was a little corroded, and so we had sort of an arcing
issue
there that we noticed because all of the whole 12-volt system went out, and that gets your attention.
Yeah.
And then you open the thing and you see like sparks, and that gets your attention a little bit more.
God. There's a point where you're like, what the?
Yeah, no, I mean, but again, that was like you look down below and you see like the whole, it's the battery bank's under a bunk, And you see the guy sleeping, who was sleeping on the bunk, being like, Jesus, that's under my bunk? Like, but we tore that apart.
Redefines hot bunk.
Yeah, exactly. But that was, that didn't affect our sailing at all.
Yeah,
It's just
a distraction.
Just a minor distraction at that point. We were just like, oh, if this is Monday's issue, we got this. This is in the bag.
And how about Tuesday? Well, you guys finished Monday night?
Monday night,
yeah. Okay.
So,
Oof, God, just in time, right?
Yeah.
And well, okay. So I imagine the first incident that was a couple hours. Second one is a couple hours.
Yeah.
Third one's not that much.
Not that much.
So you probably left just by bad luck, or whatever it is.
A
couple hours.
I would say an hour or two on the course. And I don't think that would have changed. We would have moved us up a little bit, but like, we felt really good about where we finished.
Cool. On the nav side, then, was Rich sort of guiding you through the connecting the dots?
We had Kelly on board, and he had navigated Sinn Féin to 2 victories before, and so he was like super on the ball. I mean, we had been discussing, again, current an hour a week since March, looking at the satellite telemetry and the satellite images, and really sort of pulling together a game plan. I think like 3 or 4 weeks ago, it looked like really confusing. None of the models agreed with the photos. And so by the time the race happened, I think everything had sort of converged to a state that was like mostly agreed upon. And we had a pretty coherent plan, and I would say we were within, a couple, we basically sailed our plan. Like, there wasn't as much to do there. It's just, I'm used to inshore racing, so it's like you're like, oh, we're gonna jibe, and you're like, this is our jibe.
Yep,
like,
we got jibe now. Right?
Yeah, it's like jibe, and we're gonna be on this jibe for another 2 days. Like, you're like, I don't know, how are you gonna call a ley line 2 days out, right?
Yeah.
It's just different.
Did you feel like you were you sort of sailing the fleet or your class tactically, or sort of just really just trying to sail the boat as fast as you can to finish?
A little. I mean, so again, you sort of cast your die.
Yeah.
And we had a boat, Blue J3, who had extended a long time and was like sort of hung out on the left side of the course. And we had a boat that jibed early that was right behind us that was on the right side of the course. And so it felt, and so we liked the right a little bit better. So we jibed just after their line. So we were watching, but you got to pick a side. I mean, you have people going each way.
You can't keep chasing everybody. Yeah.
So you just sort of, you do what you think is best. But we were watching them.
And when you guys finished, do you feel at that time that you'd done it?
Yeah, I mean, we felt great. I mean, we were the slowest boat in our class, so we were the first to cross the line. So it's like we sort of knew how that was going to work out.
Don't have to worry about them. It's nice when the math goes away.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Also, our class had very close ratings, so
Yeah.
it was. I think the biggest thing was like 2 hours. So we're just like, look, let's just really focus on finishing first and not worrying about the math.
Cool. Was this your first?
This is my fifth Bermuda race, but first as a boat owner.
First as an owner.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that like?
I mean, I have so much appreciation for all the owners in this race, getting their boat, particularly this year with all the logistics, getting their boat and crew to here is like just an epic logistical achievement. Like, you have so many, like, I never appreciated that as a crew. It's like, does the water work? Does the electrical work? Are the sails good? Like, every single part, if anything goes wrong, the crew's gonna be talking about it for like years, right?
Yeah.
But my philosophy is you put together a great group of compatible people, you have good food, and you get off the line.
What was the meal of the week, or the weekend?
I mean, we had this.
Run us through the menu on board the Hound.
Yeah, I mean, it was epic. Allie Dawes really hit it out of the park here. She, we had lasagna, we had pesto pasta, we had everything fresh made and stuff. It was great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What's your history with the boat, though?
So we bought Hound 2 years ago. To do, I love the concept of sort of that era. It's just like iconic. She's set up to do like really interesting cruising and really interesting racing, and so I'd mostly been team racing, match racing, that kind of stuff, and I just want to change it up. We have a young family, so we go out and cruise a lot.
Cool.
But
was the boat available for sale, or did you have to hunt it?
I mean, I looked for a long time before deciding on a boat, and this one came on the market, and it was like love at first sight.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned just real quick, you did some modifications to it. What were some of those?
Well, I mean, it's funny. So right after we got the boat, so almost 2 years ago, like Tom Stark, Hound's captain, and I sat down and I'm like, I want to do Bermuda Race. He was reminding me of this the other day, and he was like, okay, that's like a lot of work. You know?
Ready for this? Yeah.
And he has just worked flat out for basically 2 years to get it ready, and like had a lot of, we put a good team together. A lot of like older Hound captains sort of came out of the woodwork and like helped us. And
where the aluminum work?
And all this stuff. But we did a new mast, new rudder, and put a sprit on her to sort of switch to ASIMs.
Did you have both sail configurations, or did you just go straight ASIM?
No, straight into. I've been on a boat that had tons of symmetrical sailing. I don't want to do that. And then I was on a boat once that had both symmetrical and asymmetrical. You need like PhD to figure out the bow, and I was like, you definitely aren't going to do that. It's like
looking out for your bowmate. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, it was a fiasco. Every morning you come up, and it was like a different adventure. But this, before the modifications, Hound needed like 12 to 14 knots before you got any feel in anything. We just wanted to move that down range. I'd say the new number is like 8 knots.
Oh, cool.
Which is great. And like the last day, it was like 8 to 10, running. And like last year, we would have been like totally smoked. And this year, it was like great. It was
the year for the Hounds. Sniffing out Bermuda, right?
Is
that what Logan is, sniffing Bermuda?
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. How old are you, by the way? You look quite young.
41.
Yeah, you're young. Your families, you got a couple young kids you mentioned? Or?
Yeah, I have 2 daughters, 5 and 2.
No, they're not quite ready yet then,
No, the 5-year-old thinks she's ready though. Yeah. She's like super into it.
Cool.
I grew up in a sailing family, so my parents, cruisers, sailed around the world.
Yeah. Are you gonna do some cruising with it?
Yeah. No, they've been out. They love the boat. It's just, she's beautiful.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on an awesome win and a good adventure, man. You got plenty of stories.
Lots of stories. Yeah.
Were you filming it and documenting it and photos and all that kind of stuff?
We did, actually. My college roommate, Nick Gorbachevsky, he runs the Drone Racing League. He like started it.
Oh, wow.
And so we had flight operations off of Hound's deck like every day. We got some like really sweet shots.
Can he come in through the Florida catch and through the boat?
Yeah,
like I think it was Sam Greenfield that invented that one. No, not through it. No.
I mean, he flew at 25 knots and got the drone back, and like didn't take off anyone's head. So I'm like,
did he have a spare?
We did. We had a couple of.
Yeah. Okay.
That wasn't his. Like there was one that we were going to put up if it got gnarly. That he was like, I'm fine, never seeing this one again. But we didn't have to pull that out.